I've lived here since the beginning of December. 1st of December I moved to Birmingham. Before that I was commuting from Leicester because I've head teacher of an emotional behavioural school in Yardley.
Wonderful. And where do you feel you fit into the LGBT spectrum?
I don't really like to put any sort of label on myself, but I don't fancy men. I do like the female figure, really, more than anything.
Brilliant. And have you always, has that always been the case, basically?
Yeah, it has, yeah. I've never been interested in men, even from when I was younger. Not that I thought, when I was younger, I didn't really think, oh, she's fit or anything like that. It was more, I just wasn't interested, and you know, I sort of thought, oh, well, how come I don't fancy blokes and what have you? And then obviously, like, I think we were about 17. There was one woman that I ended up fancying, and then I realised that I was gay, and that was it.
Lovely. And when did you come out?
Then, yeah, I didn't really come out. I just sort of got on with it. I didn't look at it as what's the word? A disadvantage or anything like that. It was just part of me and part of my life, really.
And how has that affected your life? You know, family, school, university, work, religion, anything. Talk about what, or maybe it hasn't affected your life at all.
I suppose it's probably affected my life, but I think it's affected my life in a positive way, because I believe in using things to your advantage rather than. I'm quite a positive person. I don't look at things on a negative sort of angle, so I've used it in a positive way as far as promoting myself and stuff like that, and doing it that way rather than going, you know, feeling sorry for myself and stuff.
That's lovely. And do you mind if I ask you about dating and that kind of thing?
Yeah.
Like how you meet people, if you've currently got a partner, how you go about meeting people, that kind of side of things.
I've not currently got a partner. I've mainly had sort of like long-term relationships. I don't really go out looking for it anyway, so and I don't sleep around either. I'm not into that sort of stuff. I don't know, they just sort of pop along every now and again.
It's really fun.
Random.
Yeah.
I'm very random, don't worry about that.
And what was I going to say? Subject of children, would you like to have children in the future? Do you think that the fact that you go out with women is going to affect that?
I don't think it affects anything. I've got 2 stepchildren anyway who I still have contact with. That was from my first relationship, and now one's 21 and the other one's 24 at the beginning of October. So I'm still very close to them and what have you, when they were 1 and 4 at the time. So yeah, I've got 2 kids, really.
That's lovely. And have you ever used, like, just because we're asking this to younger people, have you used online sites, dating apps, anything like that to meet people?
I have promoted on Plenty of Fish before, but they kicked me off for promotion and advertising. But free advertising at the end of the day.
And what was I going to say? And do you think that things have changed, like in your lifetime, which apparently is longer than I thought it was?
Yeah, 37, yeah.
Which is, you know, so do you think things have changed in people's, like, attitudes towards LGBT people? Do you think things have changed, or do you think it's...
I think it's mellowed out quite a lot more, but then I think the whole gay scene's probably mellowed out a lot more. I mean, I was watching the, what was it, the house party? It was on TV, Channel 4, not so long ago, with all DJs and what have you, and a lot of the sort of like rave culture and everything came from the gay scene, which that's why I've sort of like brought Utopia into place, because I think at the end of the day, you know, we need to like join everything together again. You know, like I think a lot of it, I do think a lot of it's sort of segregated off, which there's no need to segregate it off, because, like, you know, you get an awful lot of straight people going into the gay scene, you know, and, you know, I feel there's no need for gay people not to go into the straight scene. It just needs joining up a little bit more, really, and utopia building.
you want to talk about a bit about it?
Yeah, bring it on, yeah. Basically, I've designed a label called Utopia, Perfect World of Music, and it's bringing all different cultures, which I am going to bring a few more cultures into it once I've got a bigger venue. At the moment, I've only got 3 rooms, so I've had to limit the type of music that's in there. And bringing it all into one, all under one roof. Gay DJs, straight DJs, male, female, any type of sort of religion, culture, anything really, and putting it all into one, because I'd like to be Prime Minister at the end of it.
I used to want to be Prime Minister too.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Why not?
That's the whole point, yeah.
Why do you think things like Utopia are important? What effect do you think that can have on people?
I just think I mean, I brought Utopia in, like, one, to sort of like, I think everything needs joining up a lot more, and the other thing, because everyone was sort of panicking about 2012, so, you know, rather than everyone thinking it's the end of the world, maybe it's just like a new beginning for people to sort of like put forward and what have you. So that was my idea as far as the Utopia was. What was the question?
Why do you think that having events like Utopia is a good thing, basically? Why do you think it's important?
Because it's just joining people up, and it's making people feel happy, and, you know, remembering, like, in some respects, like, because it's like rave culture, basically, you know, like everyone going out and having a good time and stuff like that. And, you know, I think in some places things have got a little bit moody now, so it needs you know, happying up a little bit, really.
How do you mean you've got moody?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think I can answer that one.
That's fine. I understand. I kind of understand, but what was I going to say? Sure, I've got other questions. See how my mind has gone blank too. And you actually, I know what I wanted to ask you about. You said that you were a head teacher at a school.
Yeah.
And if you don't mind me asking, are you quite open about who you date at work, and have you had good or bad reactions?
What, as far as school kids are concerned, I don't hide it. At the moment...
Would you mind just starting by saying what your job is and then going into that? Do you know what I mean? Because I'm not going to put my questions in, so if you just explain what your job is and then talk...
Oh, okay. Like, well, basically my day job, I'm a head teacher of an emotional and behavioural school. Kids that are in children's homes, high-profile kids mainly. They've been permanently excluded from any form of education, so I can't exclude them. So, you know, I've got my hands tied, really. But, you know, how I look at things, you know, it's sort of... Everyone's born in a certain way, and, you know, you have to put the positive into it, really. And the response that I've had from them, as far as, are you gay? I remember the first time I was sort of in the classroom, and one of them turned around, Missy, you're lesbian? And I just like popped my head up and I went, yeah, and just carried on doing my work, and that was it. I didn't respond or anything like that. And then, you know, it was just jokes, really, like, oh, can we have sex education? And I said, oh, it's not in my job. It's not in my job description to give you sex education, but I will get you a nursing, and I'll use humour out of it. I've had incidents where, you know, they're calling me like, oh, you fucking fat lesbian, and I'm like, less of the fat, please. You know, so it's, I try and use humour around it, rather than, like, I'll never hide it, because I don't see the point, because you're not actually, like, learning them anything, and you're not putting anything forward then, and you're not going to build, like, an understanding of it a lot more. I think kids understand it a lot more now than what they used to, because that's, you know, there's a massive change as far as that's concerned. It's quite open, I think, a lot more with teenagers and what have you than what it used to be. Because, you know, I think when I was younger, people didn't really talk about it, where now you get an awful lot of teenagers coming out that they're gay and lesbian and all the rest of it at school still. So I think it's a lot earlier than what it used to be. But then I think in some respects as well, there's also fashion.
really interesting. It's nice to talk to a teacher that's
Yeah.
open, because a lot of people I know who are teachers don't want to be filmed.
Oh, okay.
They're like, no, we don't want. Although they're open in their social life.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, it don't bother me.
No. And what I was going to say, is there anything else that you wanted to talk about or that you wanted to get across?
Not really. I think, like, I don't really want, like, as far as Utopia is concerned, I don't want to just keep it in Birmingham. I think that the baseline of it and its birth will be in Birmingham, but initially I want to do an Around the World in 80 Days charity event. DJing around the world for 80 days, which is going to be hard work, but you're more than welcome to film it at the same time.
I'm glad you got that in.
Yeah, bring it on.